Good morning. Welcome to session 4 of Unit 3 in learning the course Computer Organization and Architecture. In our previous sessions, we discussed about what are the instruction codes, what are the computer registers, what about the common bus system that connects all the computer registers, and also we discussed about various types of computer instructions. Now, in our today's session, we are going to discuss about timing and control. Coming to the main objectives of this session are to know how control unit generates clock pulses and to understand the control unit of basic computer. So, here we taken a basic system of size 4096 by 16. How the control unit of that basic system works, that we want to know. The main outcomes of this session are, by listening this session, the student will be able to understand how the clock pulses are generated and able to understand the control unit in basic computer. Now, what is the purpose of generating timing timing signals or clock pulses by the control unit? So, first that we need to see the timing for all registers in the basic computer is controlled by a master clock generator. So, here there is a master clock generator. That master clock generator controls the timing of all registers. So, here we learned various registers. The timing of all those registers can be controlled by a master clock generator. The clock pulses are applied to all flip-flops and registers in the system, including the flip-flops and registers in the control unit. Now, here the clock pulses are applied to all the flip-flops. So, we are seeing various flip-flops such as overflow flip-flop or end carry flip-flop. Like that, we are seeing various flip-flops for all those flip-flops and for various registers, including the flip-flops and registers which are present in control unit. For all those things, the clock pulses are applied. The clock pulses do not change the state of a register unless the register is enabled by a control signal. Now, even if the clock pulse is applied to the register, it not changes any state of the register. Unless it gets a control signal. So, suppose for example, if we pass a control signal load control signal to the register accumulator, load control signal, if the accumulator, even the clock pulse is passed to the accumulator, so without sending a load control signal, it not changes the state of that register. So, if you send the control signal load, the data from another register will be loaded into the accumulator. So, if you applied a control signal store, the data which is present in accumulator is stored to the memory at the clock pulse. Okay. So, next, the control signals are generated in the control unit and provide control inputs for the multiplexers in the common bus, control inputs in processor registers, micro operations or the accumulator. So, here the control signals are generated in the control unit. Who sends the control signals? Here we are saying that there is a master clock generator. That master clock generator controls the timing of all registers and flip-flops and all the things. It can generate the clock pulses. So, even though the clock pulses are applied to all the registers and flip-flops, these clock pulses cannot change the state of the register or flip-flop unless they are getting the control signals. Who generates the control signals? The control unit generates the control signals. And this also provides control inputs for the multiplexers and also provide control inputs for the processor registers. And also it generates micro operations, that what should be executed for the completion of execution of a particular instruction. Next, so here this diagram explains you the basic control unit for a basic computer. So, here we taken a basic computer of size 4096 by 16. So, in earlier sessions while we are talking about instruction codes, I explained what is that 4096 and what is that 16. I explained that 4096 indicates number of locations and 16 indicates number of bits for each location. We taken that basic system. For that basic system, the size of instruction is of 16 bits. This instruction is divided into three parts. The first part is the address part, 0 to 11 bits. Second part is opcode part, 12 to 14 bits, and third part is mode part, which is nothing but 15th bit. So for that basic system, the size of instruction is 16 bits. Based on the bits which are present in 12 to 14, we can decide whether that instruction is memory reference, register reference, or input output instruction. We seen all the things in our previous topics. Now I am going to explain you how the control unit of that particular basic system is present. Let us see, this diagram indicates the control unit for the basic system. It is having various things. It is having decoders, it is having sequence counter, and it is having control logic gates. And what is the work of all these things? What the 3x8 decoder can do, what the 4x16 decoder can do, and what about the control logic gates. So we are going to discuss about all these things, how clock pulses are generated. So while we are executing an instruction, at which clock pulse, which micro operation is to be executed, that we need to know. So how the clock pulses are generated, we need to know all those things. So right, next, coming to the next one. Here, I provided the description about the control unit of basic computer. Now here it consists of 2 decoders, a sequence counter, and a number of control logic gates. I already said you, it is having 2 decoders. One is the 3x8 decoder and other is the 4x16 decoder. We have 2 decoders, 3x8 decoder and other is the 4x16 decoder, and it is having a sequence counter. Here this is the sequence counter and a number of control logic gates. So here it is having a number of control logic gates to implement various micro operations. Now an instruction. The instruction read from memory is placed into the instruction register IR. Now here the instruction register is divided into 3 parts. The first part is I bit, which is nothing but mode bit. Second part is 12 to 14, which is nothing but opcode, and the bits 0 to 11. In memory reference instruction, those 0 to 11 bits indicates address path. In register reference and input output instructions, that 0 to 11 bits indicates operation, right? The operation code in 12 bits, 12 to 14 are decoded using a 3x8 decoder. Here, the 12 to 14 bits, the operation code contains 12 to 14 bits. These 3 bits are passed to 3x8 decoder and they are decoded as 8 values. Now here, what are those 8 values? Suppose for example, these 3 bits are 0, 0, 0. They are decoded as 0. These 3 bits are 0, 0, 1. They are decoded as 1. These are 0, 1, 0. They are decoded as 2. 0, 1, 1. They are decoded as 3. 1, 0, 0. They are decoded as 4. 1, 0, 1. They are decoded as 5. 1, 1, 0. They are decoded as 6. 1, 1, 1. They are decoded as 7. Like that, the values, the bits which are present in 12, 13, 14 are decoded as, are passed to the 3x8 decoder and they are decoded as 8 values. Those 8 values are from 0 to 7. Okay. Based on these values, we can decide which type of instruction that we are going to execute. Now, those decoded outputs, these 8 outputs are represented with the signal D0 to D7. So here the 0 output of the 3x8 decoder is represented with the D0. 1 output can be represented with D1, D2, D3, D4, D5 and D6 and D7. We are representing those values as D0 to D7. So which are passed to control logic gates. And after that, the subscripted decimal number is equivalent to the binary value of the corresponding operation code. So here what the subscript, that is D0, 0 is the subscript. 0 means 0, 0, 0. That indicates its binary value. And bits 15 of the instruction is transferred to a flip-flop designated by the symbol I. So here we are transferring the bit 15 to I, and which is passed to directly to the control logic gate to indicate the mode. Okay. So whether this is direct address or not, to know about that mode, or whether the given instruction is register reference or input output instruction. To know about those things, we are using this mode bit. This mode bit is also directly passed to the control logic. And next, what about the control signals? How the control signals are generated? Let us see. Bits 0 through 11 are applied to the control logic gates. Now here, let us see 0 to 11. So these are the 0 to 11 bits which are directly passed to the control logic gates. Next, the 4-bit sequence counter can count in binary from 0 to 15. So here you have the 4-bit sequence counter. Here this is the sequence counter. This can count 16 values. Those 16 values are represented from 0 to 15. Here this sequence counter can count 16 values. Those 16 values are represented from 0 to 15. Okay. Now how this sequence counter can count 16 values? Now suppose for example, if this sequence counter sends an information 0000. So from sequence counter it sends 4 bits to the decoder. So this decoder gets a 4-bit input. This 4-bit input is decoded as a 16 outputs. Okay. If this sequence counter sends 0000, it is decoded as 0. If this sends 0001, it is decoded as 1. And so on. If it sends 1111, it is decoded as 15. So like that, it can, the 4 bits which are obtained from the sequence counter, the decoder can decode those values to 16 values. Those 16 values are 0 to 15. These 16 values becomes the timing pulse, clock pulses. T0 to T15. Here, if it is 0, that clock pulse is T0. If it is 1, the clock pulse is T1. If it is 2, the clock pulse is T2. If it is 15, the clock pulse is T15. So, all these clock pulses are passed to the control logic gates. Okay, right. Now, once in a while, the counter is cleared to 0, causing the next active timing signal to be T0. Suppose, for example, I am executing an instruction. So, while the instruction is in execution, first in T0 time, I did one micro operation. At T1 time, I did the second micro operation. At T2 time, I did third micro operation. By doing these 3 micro operations, if I completed the execution of this instruction, I need to do the execution of next instruction. So, for the execution of next instruction, the timing pulses should start from T0. The time should start from T0. So, for making the time signal from T2 to T0, once in a while, the counter is cleared to 0. So, for that, we provided a clear control input to the sequence counter. So, after that, after T0, first T0 clock pulse is generated. After T0 clock pulse, we need to generate T1 clock pulse. That is, by incrementing the value, it can generate T1 clock pulse. So, for doing that incrementation, we provided a control input which is nothing but incrementer. And this is the master clock generator which is applied to all the various registers, flip-flops and control logic gates, all the things. Now, let us see. We generated, here what I explained is as an example, we generated the the clock signals, timing signals T0, T1, T2, T3 and T4 in sequence. After T4, I want to start the execution of next instruction. Then our sequence, that is, I need to get the timing signals from T0. So, in that case, we need to clear the sequence counter. So, the sequence counter becomes 0. So, by sending the 0 values, again it starts sending the timing signals from T0. Okay, like that it generates the clock pulses. That is, suppose at D3 output of the decoder, at D3 output of the 3/8 decoder, if I want to clear sequence counter, now what I need to do? At D3, T4, we need to clear the sequence counter. After this time, after this clock pulse, again it generates the clock pulses from T0. T0, T1, T2, T3. After those clock pulses, if I completed that instruction execution, if I want to start the next instruction execution, that should be started from again T0. Like that, the clock pulses will be generated. So, let us see the same thing I explained here also. Let us see the sequence counter SC responds to the positive transition of the clock. Initially, the CLR input of SC is active. Initially, clear input is active. The first positive transition of the clock clears SC to 0, which in turn activates the timing signals T0 out of the decoder. So, first from positive clock transition, first SC becomes 0 and it generates a clock signal T0. Now, T0 is active during one clock cycle. The positive clock transition labeled T0 in the diagram will trigger only those registers whose control inputs are connected to timing signals of T0. That is, for which control inputs the T0 is applied. So, those will be triggered. Now, sequence counter is incremented with every positive clock transition to generate the clock pulses T1, T2, T3, T4 and so on. Like that, by the incrementation, the clock pulses can be generated. Now I hope that you all understood how the basic control unit works in generating the clock pulses. So here in this, I am going to summarize the concepts what we explained in this session. In this session, we seen how the control unit design is present for our basic system and how what are the various digital circuits and digital elements that are present in designing the control unit, and what are the functionalities of those digital elements, and how the clock pulses are generated. So in positive clock transition, how the clock pulses are generated from T0 to so on T4 or T5, and how it becomes clear and how it generates the clock pulses again from T0 like that. So we seen all those things. So to assess yourself here, I given a question. Please answer the question. Explain how clock pulses are generated from the control unit. In preparing this presentation, I used the digital content from various public sources. It is used only for educational purpose and not for the commercial purposes. Thank you for listening the session. Thank you.